A world away now in Afghanistan, a bomber has targeted a volleyball tournament and at least 45 people are dead. It happened in a far eastern province along the border with Pakistan. Officials say the bomber was mingling in the crowd when the device blew up. So far, no group has officially claimed responsibility for that attack. Also in Afghanistan, the country's parliament has approved a bilateral security deal that will allow U.S. and international troops to remain inside that country beyond 2014. That deal will allow 12,000 military personnel to stay behind in primarily a supportive role. U.S. combat operations, as you know, are set to end next month. Well, no agreement would be better than a bad one when it comes to doing a deal with Iran over nuclear power. Those words from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who is actively watching along with the rest of the world. The U.S. is entering the final hours now of negotiations with Iran to prevent the nation from building a nuclear weapon. Netanyahu is telling the United States not to give away too much to Tehran, warning the repercussions would threaten all of humanity.
I think the key principle is this: don't dismantle sanctions before you dismantle Iran's capacity to make a nuclear bomb. If, for any reason, the United States and the other powers agree to leave Iran with that capacity to break out, I think that would be a historic mistake.
Well, Secretary of State John Kerry met with Iran's foreign minister again today. The Associated Press is reporting the U.S. is now telling Iran it's time to consider extending negotiations past tomorrow's deadline. Dominic DiNatale is following the developments tonight from Los Angeles. Dom?
Hey there, Harry. Secretary Kerry talking late into the evening with his European counterparts over how to save the day tomorrow. Before heading into that gathering, though, the British Foreign Minister John Hammond said the chance of a deal was really down to the wire.
At the moment, we're focused on the last push, big push tomorrow morning to try and get this across the line. Of course, if we're not able to do it, we'll then look at where we go from there. But at the moment, everybody's talking about how we are going to try and bridge that gap and move things forward tomorrow with the Iranians.
John Kerry's first meeting of the day had been with the Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif. The Saudis flew in just to meet Kerry earlier. That meeting was held aboard their plane sitting on the asphalt, and they flew straight out after seeing the Secretary of State. Every one of these meetings has been highly confidential, probably because the concessions on either side may not be politically palatable back home for any of these players. But we do know that the sticking point in all of this is this: how far will Tehran go to dismantle its nuclear activities that could be used for making weapons? And what if Iran continues to try and make weapons in secret after striking a deal with the international community? Well, as protests against the negotiations and tighter sanctions continue in Iran, the leadership there knows that eventually the people there are going to start blaming them for the pain that they are really now beginning to feel from those sanctions. That means Tehran has to act somehow. Best case scenario, Harris, that we're hearing from the Vienna talks is, quote, a general political agreement on what both sides are committed to resolving. You can interpret that as a let's keep talking about talking conclusion. And out of that, still no indication of when or if Tehran will give up its nuclear ambitions. Harris, back to you.
Keep talking about talking, about talking, about talking. Wow, Dominic, a great way to put it.
It just goes on.
Thank you. And this development, a massive gathering in Iran, bringing Shiite and Sunni religious leaders from 80 countries together. They're trying to come up with a plan to deal with Muslim extremists, including ISIS, that terror army which now controls a large swath of Iraq and Syria. The groups historically, as you know, don't agree on much, but they are unifying apparently behind this message, calling ISIS a threat to all of Islam. There are questions, however, over Iran's role in this big meeting, considering, of course, its support of the terror group Hezbollah and of Iraqi Shiite militia who have kidnapped and killed so many Sunni civilians.